Good afternoon. My name is Peter Karen. I am one of your three selectmen. I'm here today with our police chief from the town of Dayton, which, Chief, you've been around for a few years.
Yes, 21.
21 years.
21
That's a
years.
long time
It is.
to do just one job. One of the, do you prefer chief? Is that what the
Call me
rank
George.
is?
Call me George today.
Okay,
Yes.
George. One of the big things that people ask today is, what are you like? Not you, but anybody. And what, not what made you right for this position, but how'd you get it? Where'd you come from? I know
Okay.
you work for the town, but what's your past been like? What brought you to
So-
this?
So it was my dream to be a police officer, and
Yeah.
it was my childhood dream. And then I had a neighbor that was my superhero, I'll call her, and my idol back then. And I idolized what she did, and just being a young youth in the community, I idolized the police, and I said someday I want to be a police officer, and
awesome.
I lived up to it. I think it goes back to my high school memories in my yearbook, saying one day I'm going to be in law enforcement.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
I
Cool.
got involved with the ambulance. I was an EMT for 7 years
Yep.
after high school. I worked temporarily 3 years down the power plant in Plymouth, and then I started pursuing the law enforcement job,
Yeah.
profession soon thereafter. And,
Great.
I've been here for 21 years now.
Yeah. So what were you before chief? You were a sergeant?
I was a sergeant before. I was the administrative sergeant under the former chief, and then prior to that, I was a patrol sergeant for about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And I got into some education part of the job, like teaching taser class and use of force stuff and in-service training.
Yep.
And then prior to that, I was a patrolman from 2006 till about when I got promoted in 2018 to sergeant. And then I was a reserve for 18 months, which we hire full-time officers off the reserve list.
Okay.
So
I wasn't aware of that. I knew you had reserve. For some reason, I just assumed they didn't want to be full-time, but I guess that's a step for them.
So yeah, when I get on back in 03, at the end of 03, beginning of 04, we used to get on the reserve list, and you'd have to
Okay.
work like so many hours a year, and like really show like the initiative that you want to be here.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good thing. We used to utilize reserves a lot more. I mean, times were different back then, and then as you became, a tool to the department, when openings came up, they'd consider you for a full-time opportunity.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we know that we've heard the term reserve,
Right.
but didn't know the process behind it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it was a good program because like other bigger agencies, you take a civil service exam, you come in off you take an exam and then you get hired on the department. You have no experience doing the job,
Yeah.
and then you don't know if you're gonna make it or break it, right?
Yeah.
So then as a reserve, you get to dabble in a little bit, and then I've seen a lot come and go over the years. I mean, you get on as a reserve, you go to a part-time academy, you come out, you do all the training within the department, and you can really see like, hey, is this job for me? Is it not for me?
Right.
And I've seen some come in the door and wow, I didn't realize there was this much paperwork. I didn't
Yeah.
realize there was this much writing.
Right.
So for a town, you don't have to invest in that, where a city, they'd invest in all that training, and now you come out of the academy after 6 months of getting paid and all that on paying for all their gear, and now
Sure.
they say, I don't know if this profession's for
Right,
me.
for me.
Where the
Yeah.
towns can save a little bit of money, not
Right.
investing so much money up
Good.
front.
How many police officers do we have right now?
We're 16.
16
Yeah.
full-timers?
Full-timers,
And,
including myself.
How many reserves, or is this, do you
Full,
count?
we have 5 reserves, and we have that do part-time,
Yep.
filling in shifts. But again, we don't utilize them like we used to
Yeah.
when I first got on. And then we have special police officers, which are retirees that still stick around to do some
Okay.
details to help out.
Cool. One of the things is we get questions from people who want me to ask yourself and others certain particular questions.
Yep.
And one of the questions that came up, not fairly frequently, I don't want to exaggerate it, more than once anyway, was about detail work. And why do police officers do detail work as opposed to ordinary citizens or somebody employed by National Grid, for example?
I would say probably the liability.
Yep.
Having a police officer out there, it maintains a safe traffic safe traffic safety. Motorists are more apt to pay more attention to the a police officer versus a flagman.
Sure.
I've heard a lot of controversy with both, and I think having a police officer out there, it's more of a command presence thing, right? You see a police officer on the road, you're more apt to pay attention to the road versus if you just see a construction worker out there, which we've seen in other states holding a stop sign or whatnot.
Right.
I don't feel like they earn the same respect from the motorists as you do with a police officer in the street.
That's so true. You certainly slow down more when you see a police officer.
Yes, you do. I mean, I think it's a natural thing to do, right?
Sure.
Even when you see them on the highway on the side of the road, you see them, you tend to slow down more.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just human nature, I guess, right?
And I don't think people realize that when you're doing some work for a national grid or whatever, it doesn't matter. They pay.
They do. They do.
For the detail.
They do.
So
the contractor
it's not like
pays.
It's coming out of the town budget.
Right. There's no burden to the town.
Right.
The contractor hires the detail. The contractor pays the bill for the officer. Yep.
Good. Again, that was part of the questions that we received. So anyway,
I'm sure. I mean, people do. I mean, they don't know. They see an officer out there working for the town.
Yeah.
They automatically would come to the conclusion that the town's footing the bill for the officer to be there.
Absolutely.
And nope, that's not the case. But you're right, though. The contractor pays for the officer to be there.
Okay, good. This is a question that we have. How does your department engage with the community to build trust and collaboration? Pretty straightforward. Today, as well as anybody, what we hear from protest and defund the police and all those kinds of things.
Right.
So how do you in your department face this?
So we've looked at all kinds of different programs that other communities are doing, right? So, I mean, you look around and you say, okay, what's this community doing? What's that community doing? You always see feedback on social media. And we've started looking into programs, and Coffee with a Cop was like one of the big things that we started doing. And we started hosting those programs. And I feel like sitting down with the public and having a one-on-one conversation as we are right now is a big thing. That goes a mile. I mean, people love sitting down and have conversation, right? So if you're putting things out there and they're able to talk to you in a free-for-all kind of forum, it builds trust because you're telling people like, hey, we're just like you are. We're doing a job. You have a job. I have a job. And by letting people sit down and being able to openly ask questions, I think that goes a mile. So we've done Coffee with a Cop. We've done Walk with a Cop that we've used behind the town hall and allow people to walk around, have a conversation. And those kind of programs go a long way. They really do. They really do.
It's interesting because the cop who worked the beat in some of these bigger towns and cities, the community got to know who their police officer was just because of that.
Right.
But it doesn't happen like that anymore.
No.
You have to go the extra mile to achieve the same results.
Absolutely. We've looked at, I'm in the process now looking at maybe doing potentially, I don't think it'll kick off this year, but just because you got to put work into a curriculum, but maybe doing like a Citizens Academy.
Yeah.
There are some communities that do them. So we are looking at our options of maybe doing a Citizens Academy.
Nice.
Letting people come in and running it for about an 8-week program just to see what people can see on the inside.
You do that with kids.
We do that with kids
extent.
now. Yes, we do. For 2 weeks in the summertime.
Okay, you just had a graduation.
We did, yes, last
Friday.
week. Yes, we did, yes.
I missed it because we were going out of town, but I wanted to be there. But I heard it was successful.
It was great. It was great. It was probably one of the best years we've had yet to date.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, with other communities again that get involved in it, and then you got more resources and instructors, and the kids seem to have loved it.
Oh,
I bet. It was great. Yeah.
And they come out with a new appreciation for what it's like to be a police officer.
Oh, they do.
And
they
what you guys actually do.
The way they come in from day one and the time when they leave, oh my God, it's a change just in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. Another question we got for you: what are your biggest challenges today? We can get into post later. People don't understand what it means yet. But before it was giving speeding tickets.
Right.
Today it's people, it's so much more. People have a love affair with their cars, so it's not just a speeding ticket anymore. People drive, to me, a little more crazy than when I was first got my license, which is just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But so, what are your biggest challenges that you face?
As a department head of the department now, recruitment, trying to maintain recruitment. Civil service is a thing that communities do like I've talked about in the last question, to get into the job. And now that they're doing away with civil service exams, it's easier for an officer to go to other departments where they want to work for a bigger department, or if they want to work for a busier department. It's easier for an officer to be able to lateral to another department.
Yep.
So when you have a smaller town like we are here, recruitment can start to become an issue. And one of those things that, I've talked to other chiefs from smaller communities, and they feel the same thing. Like,
Yep.
hey, such and such department's moving out of civil service, and now this officer here can now jump over there, and just by filling out an application, those things start to dwell in the back of your mind.
Yeah. I didn't think it'd be a challenge to get police officers today.
Yeah.
Where do you go to recruit? Is it there a school? Do you get a list from colleges or high schools that?
So academies that host self-sponsored academies. You reach out to the directors to say, hey, do you have any self-sponsors? And simply by putting things on social media, as we have in the past, that we're hiring.
Yep.
And sometimes you may find an officer that works for a smaller department in Dayton, which we've had recently, that have lateraled over to us.
Yep.
And we haven't had any lateral to another department from our agency, because I feel like when they come here to Dayton, they truly love being here as much as I do. You know?
Great. The technology, another question for you, is changing constantly.
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't know how you keep up with it. Two, you seem to be managers today, and not just police officers or patrolmen, whatever. You're not just working the street. How is technology affecting your department, and how is it changing? What do you see 5 years from now?
That's a good question. Technology is, right down from the everyday software we're using. We're always looking and shopping, trying to shop around. But cost is a huge thing. There's grants out there that allow us to be able to purchase and maintain technology and stay with the change of time. The grants have been a huge savior, especially to a small town, to be able to purchase and upgrade like monitors and computers and such, radar equipment, the radar signs you see on the road, the radar trailers, things like that have all come through the grant money. And we've been lucky enough, knock on wood, to be able to maintain our technology through the grants.
So it's maintaining technology. How do you see it changing? It's changed a lot in the last. You've been around for 21 years. I'm sure it's so different than what you experienced 21 years ago. But in addition to getting these things through grants, which is great, and thank you for doing that, how do you live and die by technology? If communication goes down tomorrow for whatever reason, what happens?
Well, if the radios went down, we'd refer to cell phones, I'm sure, right? Computers and cars. Like you said, when I started here, it's evolved so much. There were no computers in cruises. And then I remember Sergeant Dutra working with the grants back then to get put laptops and computers in the cruises that are a vital tool today. But I guess if things went down, you'd have to resort back to the basics, right? It's so funny that some of these newer officers say, this cruiser's out of service. Well, why is the cruiser out of service? Oh, because the computer don't work. Well, is there a radio in the car? Do you have a cell phone?
Sure.
So it's funny that you asked that. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to be. It's crazy that so much is changed from the time I started to where it is now. I don't know. I know like they're talking in the 911 area, that there's going to be FaceTime eventually coming down the road when you call 911, that the 911 call takers are going to be able to see eventually the person calling in. So
Nice.
right now, when you're calling in, they can pinpoint a cell phone.
Right.
Years ago, they could never do that.
Yeah.
They would just know what city or town you're calling from, or it would go to the state police.
Yep.
And whatever barracks was in that area, but now they're gonna you'll be out. It's evolving
cool.
to have that face-to-face communication.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, technology is
it's evolving
in the forefront.
Oh,
and
it
it's
is
changing constantly.
It is for the better. For
Oh
sure.
yeah. What do you think of the video cams on the officers' vests?
The body cams, so when it's funny you asked that, because we were just talking about this the other day. When body cams first came out, you're already carrying 26 pounds of weight, right, and on your belts. And when those came out at first, I'm like, oh man, just another piece to carry.
Yep.
But as time has gone by and these things are established, it's such a vital tool now that we've gotten used to, because now you get a call and any adult public interaction, the body cam is on. So times have come, when we've had people complain or we've had people ask for public records. The courts ask for public records now. That's another thing. It's the public records request with body cams now, because everyone has them redacting video and faces and whatnot. It's just another part of the job now, right? As technology evolves, the body cams are a bonus now, because now with the body cams on, it's physical evidence. Physical evidence doesn't lie. Yeah. So, so and so said this, and so that, or this happened and that happened. Now you can go back and now you can review the body cams.
Yeah, it's a witness.
100%.
Yeah. The officers feel comfortable using it?
They do.
And do they manually turn it on and off, or is it something that's activated?
Nope, they manually turn it on.
Okay.
So when they're going to the call, they turn it on relatively as they're pulling up on scene, and then when they're done with the call, they shut it off.
Yeah. Okay. I think everybody has heard of or seen those cop shows on TV.
Oh yes.
The Cops, I think, is even the name of one of them, and so much of it is these body cams.
Yeah.
That. You see it from the police officer's point of view.
You do.
It's
yeah.
I
love it.
Oh yeah, good. I never would have thought that they use it as evidence. Yeah. But I guess so.
Yeah. So the DA's office, when body cam started first coming out, especially in our district, the Taunton District Court, I remember one of the assistant district attorneys over there said that once more office departments get the body cams, they're going to become more prevalent to public requests.
Yep.
And they have. That's exactly what it's come down to. So we get, I don't know exactly how many we get a month, but we get quite a bit.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. Good. On to the addressing crime. I see. Not just because I'm a selectman, but anybody can see the patrol log, how many calls go where, and through the yearly book that comes out. And do we have a specific area in town that you need to address or address because of crime? Is it just spread out? We don't have, or do we have a section like some of these big cities that, avoid Main Street through 3rd Avenue, making that up, obviously.
No, that's a great question. And no, we don't. We don't have a specific problem area. Like the things that we have in town, because we're like a middle class community, I would say, right? Working class community, working class folks. Mm-hmm. Our biggest things in town, just like every other community, are domestic related incidences, speeding. Yep. We're going to have our vandalism, which we have time to time in the parks when, I don't know, if kids get bored and whatever, they feel like they got to go defacing property or whatnot. But those are mainly our things. And speedings, I would say, like speeding and domestic, domestics are probably our biggest things. And then, to try to solve those matters, we have a domestic violence officer in the department that we've sent to training. Yeah, and they do their follow-ups, and they make sure the victims and the families are all set. There's resources out there that the state has to offer this program. So having a domestic violence officer in place helps, have a follow-up, because when something happens, a crime happens, the crime's over, and then people get forgotten about.
Yep.
Did they forget about me, or they, if someone's abused or whatnot. It's always good to have follow-up in a
Sure.
department, because I feel like years back there was no follow-up.
No.
It was that officer that went to the call that day, and then if you went away on vacation or
Yep.
days off, now the person's calling the station saying, hey, how come I haven't heard from so-and-so? What is going on with this case?
Sure.
Now when you have a person and a report can be followed,
Yep.
forwarded to that officer, now they can actually call that person back and say, we have these programs. I have this person you can reach out to in
Yeah.
the court system. So those are things that we've done to help with the crimes that we do
Yep.
have. Speeding's another big thing. So we have those radar signs out there. And we have black boxes that we put on the pole.
Right.
And we can run a traffic assessment.
Yep.
When someone calls up and says, hey, we've had a lot of speeders on this road. We go out there, we'll put the traffic box on the road, and it's just a box. It's a black
Yeah.
box. You probably drive by it and not even
Yeah,
notice
sure.
it. We'll run a survey out there for like a week or 2 weeks, whatever we feel we need to.
Yep.
And we can get a whole analysis of like the top speed, the lowest speed, how many cars,
Oh,
how
yeah.
many motorcycles.
When we were discussing the issue with Bristol Aggie, I think you were at that meeting.
I was.
And there was a prior town administrator who would challenge the sign.
Yes.
And you said,
Yes.
"Oh, that was me.
Yeah,
clocked
that
at
was me.
67
exactly.
or
Yes,
whatever."
yes,
I'm making
yeah.
that up.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
See, this is something I don't think people even realize
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah, so again, like with grant money, when we start like getting complaints on certain things, like I said, the two biggest things in town that we're always going to have speeding, because we have nice roads in town.
Yeah.
I always say Dayton's a perfect grid, right? The roads are straight. We're always going to have speeders,
Sure.
And people that cut through town more so now than ever because they're using GPS and Waze apps to cut through town to find the shortest route. We all do it, right?
Yeah.
So now having the increase in traffic, what can we do to help curve and pinpoint, like, when should we have a traffic guy out there? When should we have a traffic guy out there writing tickets, doing traffic enforcement?
Right.
Having these tools, on the telephone pole, running these studies. Hey, 4 to 8 on Forest Street, we got a lot of speeders. Stick a guy out there, run
Right.
traffic, write tickets, and create enforcement.
Right.
Yeah.
I hate this term of quotas. You've probably heard it many times.
I have.
But it doesn't exist.
It does not.
And I think people who use that are probably abuse the speeding.
Right.
But do you still get a lot of that, or you're just trying to make a quota and that's why you're giving me a ticket?
Every now and then you'll hear it.
Yeah.
I think as maybe generations change, I think that was more of like an older
Okay.
saying. But yeah, I've had it thrown at me a few
Yeah,
times when
have
I
you?
used to be out there writing tickets
Yeah.
as a patrolman. Oh, you met your quota today. Oh, well, no, 2 more to go.
Yeah.
Joking around. But no, we don't have quotas. It's
Cute.
never been existent in my career.
Sure. Back to some more questions. The training that you give your police officers, we just related to the word post, or how do you train an officer today? I would assume they don't get a police car and they're out there automatically. There must be some academy that they go through. They are taught post, if you could explain what that is for a minute.
Yep.
And go from there.
All right. So when a police officer is hired, they go through a 6-month training, which is a Monday through Friday at any academy that they get assigned to, whether it be Randolph, Boylston, Plymouth. They get sent to that academy. 6 months they go through for everything from physical fitness standards to training with like the general laws, constitutional law, criminal law, Chapter 90 law, which would be all your motor vehicle law, your firearms trainings. They spend several weeks on the gun ranges learning with a pistol and a patrol rifle, and then from there on they put all those things together and they start doing applied patrol procedures at the end of their programs and stuff to see if they can make a break, and then they get a final exam. They have exams throughout, but then there's a big final exam, and then once they graduate that, they become a post-certified police officer.
Okay.
So POST stands for Police Officer Standards and Training. Once you become a police officer a Post C certified officer, they get a letter, and the departments that hire those employees, the officers, get a letter of that you're a Post certified police officer, and they pretty much maintain the standards and training of policing in Massachusetts. It's an agency that was created by the former governor. I think Governor Baker was in office at the time. They created this agency to oversee standards and training, and making
Yep.
sure everything's done in a uniform manner, that departments are held accountable, officers are held accountable.
Right.
You have to report any kind of discipline.
Okay.
And then once, if we deem an officer's been neglected a duty or whatever, and we suspend this person, they have to now I have to send a letter up to Post, and Post
Okay.
will review the allegations of what took place, and they'll conduct their own investigation.
Yeah.
And then
So there are procedures.
there are everything. The things that are in place now make it as transparent than
Sure.
I've ever seen it, because every agency does things different. Every agency has policies and procedures, but the way one department may handle something versus another department, things were different. Now with Post in place, now everybody has to forward their things up to this agency, and they oversee.
Great.
They have the final say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've heard that pre and post.
Post.
And I have seen the terminology. I knew what it meant prior to this, but I don't think the public even was aware that that is something that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know what they thought it meant, but the training today, when a police officer does come out of the academy, and you mentioned reserves earlier, is that the next step? They become a reserve officer, or they can go actually being a patrol person?
So when Post got formed, the days of reserve officers pretty much fell by the wayside. They created a thing called the Bridge Academy, and they basically ran it alphabetical order. So last name being A through D or A through E, year one, then year two, and it went down through the alphabet. And they'd have to get additional hours. These reserve officers. Once they completed all the classroom disciplines and all the hands-on stuff, EVOC, driving a motor vehicle, extra range time, they became a Bridge certified Post full-time officer. So basically all those reserve officer statuses became full-time eligible police officers now. There's no more reserve academies, no more part-time academies. So the reserve, or the police officers that we do have on our roster, are Bridge certified. They're eligible to be hired as a full-time police officer. And the guys that we have are full-time firemen, and they have other professions that are just with us because they love being here.
Sure.
And they love doing the job. But they have other professions that they do full-time. So chances of them wanting to come here full-time, if we ever had an opening, are probably slim to none, because we've had them for a few years, and we've jokingly in the past to say, hey, why don't you leave the fire department, come over to the police department?
Oh, sure.
And they laugh about it, but they're like, nah, I'm established where I'm at, and that's understandable,
Yeah.
But so we don't have any reserve officers anymore. So the ones that don't make the cut have till January 1st of 2027 if they don't meet the hours, which are 2,400 hours in a cruiser, their classroom time, and other things. So if they don't have those things in line by January 1st, 2027, which I'm sure there's plenty in the state, they'll have to hand in their badges to their departments.
All right. We've already talked about youth and what you do. I don't know if there's something else you want to add. One of the questions I had was, what do you do for the youth? But you have the police academy. But we used to have a DARE program, which you were around when we had it.
It just ended. It stopped.
Ed Dutra was the DARE officer.
And they stopped funding that right before I had probably come on, maybe by a year or so.
Is this something that you'd consider doing again to get into the schools? And
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it ever came about again, I mean, I'd definitely look into it to see obviously the program's going to change.
Yeah.
But is it beneficial to our youth, which I think it would be,
Yeah.
I mean, we do things now. We're doing a program now called RAD. We're running, it's a summer program. We're doing it in collaboration with Somerset right now at the Bristol Aggie High School. It's kids from ages 5 to 8, August 18th to the 21st. It teaches kids defensive strategies in case stranger danger. Kids, they were trying to be abducted. It teaches kids techniques on how to get away from a stranger.
That's great.
Yeah, so we're running that program now over at the Bristol Aggie School, and they can go online onto the Dighton Police Facebook page, and they can register on the QR code on there and register their children for that
awesome.
program. So
I think it's important to establish things when kids are kids, whether it be with a police officer or anything to behave in society.
Right.
And the more they know, I think the better
Absolutely.
adults they'll become.
Yes, yes, and I didn't know much about the program, and then when they came to me, they're like, "Hey, we want to run this Rad Kids thing."
Yeah.
Again, we got the equipment from a grant through the district attorney's office, to run this class, to host this class
Yep.
for our youth in the community, and
Okay.
it's been a huge success. We run it
Sure.
every year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Not a question that I gave you ahead of time, but not that matters. The you have. I asked before about how many police officers you had. So we only have a couple on duty at a time, I would assume.
We do.
Patrol people at nighttime, and
Yes.
If there's a major catastrophe, not a hurricane or, can you rely on other towns to come and support us?
Yeah.
What happens if there's a big accident and 2 patrol cars are not adequate for the scene?
Yeah, so we have mutual aid. We have a
Okay.
mutual aid agreement that extends out beyond into the Metro West part of the state. It's a huge mutual aid agreement, and we have, and they rely on us.
Right.
The neighboring communities all the time rely on us to, hey, we have an alarm call, we have cars tied up, or we have an accident, we have cars tied up. Even domestics, hey, can you
Okay.
send a cruiser here because we're tied up? And we do the same thing. We utilize our neighbors on a pretty regular basis
Yep.
as well. Because let's face it, one car accident or one arrest, because it takes 2 to process a prisoner, or if you have to call somebody in for overtime, we have utilized our
Yeah.
neighbors, and we do it often.
Yeah.
It happens more often than people realize.
Sure. I know the fire department does that.
Yes.
We had a major house fire 2 years ago, I think. I don't know if, forgot what street it was on.
Yes.
But Swansea came in to
Right.
man the fire station.
Right.
While our vehicles were tied up.
Yes, yeah, and that's what it's about. You know what I mean? It's having these mutual aid agreements. I mean, it allows communities to, we have our men and women on the street doing the job, but if being like you said, a small community, having a couple on the road, and one call can change the whole entire night, and now
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like you're tied up for 4 or 5 hours dealing with a major incident. Whether it be a bad car accident or an arrest, or whatever it may be. Now you have to call Taunton, Berkeley,
Right.
Rehoboth, and
And
they
they
come
come.
over no problem. Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we pay for that, or is it just reciprocal?
No, we don't pay for that.
Okay.
No.
And back to goals, and we talked about things changing from the last few years. What are your personal goals? You're chief. You're at the top.
Yes.
Do you have political aspirations? Do you want to go above being chief? And the second part of the question is, what are your plans for your department? 5-year plan.
So my 5-year plan is I want to be here at least another 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
And I don't plan on going above anywhere after that. I want to enjoy retirement, so I'll be there.
Sure.
I'll be close to 60 when I get out, and I want to enjoy life, with my family. But I don't have any thoughts of going any political direction. Maybe work, as some of these other retirees do. Maybe work a couple of details here and there.
Oh, sure.
And do some traveling.
Yep.
My long-term goals my 5-year goal for the department is just maintaining, hopefully, what we can now. Knowing where we're at, financially as a town.
Yeah.
Hopefully, not lose any personnel
Yep.
in the meantime. The job that we signed up today isn't going to be the same job tomorrow, because the job's changed so much since I've been on.
Yep.
And the job 5 years from now, the job's going to change even more.
Right.
So hopefully the people that we have today don't chase them out the door. Hopefully
Yep.
they evolve with the job. Sometimes people can't change with time.
Yep.
So those are things that you think in the back of your mind. So by involving the department and letting them do specialty things like joining SWAT teams and task force and of such that we have at our fingertips that involve like all these mutual aid departments. It's called SEMLEC, Southeastern Mass Law Enforcement Council. It allows these kids, officers, to do other jobs, specialty jobs.
Yeah.
So letting officers stay involved and stay active keeps the morale up. It keeps guys active, and it doesn't let people get complacent.
Right.
So those are my goals: just keep feeding guys the training and
Sure.
and getting the tools that we can through grants and whatnot, and just keeping it a good, healthy work environment.
Okay. I was involved in negotiations for your contract. You were there as well, and there were certain steps. You just mentioned it, certification, that an officer would have to achieve in order to get an increase in pay or move up to that next step. And it happens in other departments as well. I don't know if you remember that scenario.
Was the education?
Education.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we pay for that education?
The education, so that comes out. Yeah, that comes out of the the education as far as their tuition in college and stuff like that. There is tuition reimbursement, but they have to maintain a certain grade in school. They just can't fly by the wayside and pass the class and get that. They do have to manage a GPA, and they're allowed up to so much per year.
Okay.
So it's not paying for the entire thing. Like with myself, I think I get $6,000 a year towards my tuition reimbursement. With colleges going up, and tuition is going up, it's nearly not covering a lot.
Not covering much.
So they get maybe a couple semesters, reimbursed.
Okay. Can we talk about public perception for a minute? Either there's a good reputation or a bad reputation. It doesn't seem like there's anything in between. I think Dighton has a great reputation right now for our current police staff. They probably feel like if there's an issue, you will respond. They don't mind paying for that public safety. Well, I assume they don't. But the question for you is, in light of the recent events that we've had nationally, everything from these riots to the gentleman who gave away state secrets, how do you address concerns in accountability to make sure that we're transparent? We received accolades from the FBI and for the way your department handled that situation with, it doesn't matter his name, but you got to be so much more transparent today. And I guess, what do you feel is the perception of the public with your police department today?
I feel like our perception with the department is excellent. I really do. I feel like from everything that the feedback that we receive, everyone, the perception we get is always great. It's every now and then you're going to get your questions. You're going to get things people may reach out through social media pages or whatnot. We try not to engage too much with going back and forth. When people have questions and things that they may perceive being right or wrong.
Yeah.
But we have an open door policy down the station. If people want to call, people want to come down and ask questions, we've always maintained that that openness, that transparency with the public, and I feel like the public looks at us as a great department. We've been in the media spotlight for a while now, and a few major incidences that you had brought up. We discuss things as a department every single day. We go through the log every morning. We have roll call. We talk about outside things that are going on or things that have affected us as a department. We talk about it. How can you make it better? What did we go wrong? What could we do better in the future? Those are important things.
Sure.
And we've looked at, like I said, other things that have gone on in society and other things that have major incidences, and like, hey, what did this agency do wrong and what did they do really great? And how could we make it better here? And what could we do if we were ever faced with it? So we throw scenarios at our guys. We do training videos every month that we subscribe to that throw different things at our men and women. So
it seems like in the national news, there's more stories about police officers being more accountable than what they ever were before.
Oh, yes.
And some going to jail.
Yes.
Because of breaking the law themselves.
Yeah, right.
I'm not talking about their personal life. I'm talking about job performance.
Right.
The few gentlemen who had their knee on somebody's neck at one time, and that was the start of riots. And, so, in the light of that, are you more cautious now or certainly probably more aware of the proper way to do things?
Yes.
But,
so the state got strict with that. The state got really like, hey, the do's and don'ts of things. CMRs came out, laws came out on to the do's and don'ts. That was a national changing event, right? When that happened, and the state came down with laws about, you violate this, you're going to be held accountable,
Yeah.
right? So body cams, again, we talked about that before. Body cams are a huge thing, and it keeps everyone real, right? It keeps everyone, hey, do the right thing, because you know what, you're on camera now,
Right.
right? So that keeps everything transparent. That keeps everybody honest. And with the training that we do every year, that's always covered. Those things are always covered every
Yeah.
year, of the do's and don'ts, new laws that are coming out, the training techniques that we can do. How do you avoid, like, again, touching the neck or doing anything? Teaching officers new ways to do the job helps out tremendously.
Yeah.
And the state always has different curriculum every in-service training. So when we go to Taunton for in-service, there's the instructors over there are the best. They
Yep.
really are. That's what they love to do. There's a strong passion of teaching. We have guys in our department that teach, and when their officers are going through their in-service training, they're doing the hands-on part of it. They're doing the textbook part of it. So it leaves no room for error.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, guys are going to make mistakes, and
Sure.
it's going to happen. But
Yeah.
by teaching and educating all the time as much as we do, helps out huge.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Which leads me to my last question. Well, kind of last question. You have advice for citizens. What advice would you give to citizens on how to interact positively with law enforcement? You certainly have people who pull over are a little angry. You're called to a domestic situation. You're called to assist with ambulances. The car accidents that happened today. How should people interact with police officers today?
Respect is a two-way street, right? So they should respect any officer just as much as the officer should respect them.
Yep.
But give the officer the respect. Keep your hands out of your pocket. Don't come off in a threatening manner. Be transparent as they're being transparent with you. And just always be compliant. Like if they're asking you to do something, and you may be you may be mad because of a domestic, or you're upset because you got pulled over, but just remember, like, kind of like reverse the role for a minute. Like, how would you want to be treated if you wore the badge or if you were doing the job? So I would say just be respectful and just understanding to the fact, and can kind of like take a back seat and just maybe like breathe a minute and say, you know what, maybe this officer is right. Maybe this is what I need to do, instead of like being so against what the officer's saying or the officer's commands are.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah. Do you do interactive things with the public, as far as I see you at certain events, and most of the time they seem to be geared towards children, giving out police badges. And,
Correct.
But what do you do, or are there things that you set up a table at the Strawberry Festival, let's say, that we have in town, just to let people know you're out there? These are questions that you can answer. Does that happen for your department?
Not often. I mean, adults really never they'll engage us more through social media than they will through like face-to-face interactions. Again, that's why we have like those programs like Coffee with a Cop or Walk with a Cop, or maybe in the future we'll do Pizza with the Police or something like that. Those kind of things. I find like the adult age group doesn't really want to have much interaction with us, whether maybe they're embarrassed or if they just don't have the time. But when we're out there, we try to engage with everybody. Like Touch a Truck event that the fire department does every year, which is a great event. The public comes out from all over. And you try to engage with the adults and the kids at the same time. And sometimes you'll get random questions, and people will ask you things, and we love that, And we get people that come by the station that just want to tour the police station. They just want to come by, and sometimes questions do come up, you know, and we love that, and we tell people all the time, if it's a slow day, there's an officer that can call off the road, give you a tour around the station, or ask some questions. I mean, we're always there. But I do ask like one thing, more thing too, not to use like the social media platform like Facebook or whatever, not to complain about something. If there's a real complaint, call the station. Hey, can I talk to Officer so-and-so? I saw this happen the other day, or someone's doorbell camera caught something. Don't use the Facebook or anything as a complaint. Pick up the phone, call us, hey, I have a question about something. Don't go on these rants and get
Yeah.
everybody else, in a tizzy about something
Yeah.
that could be easily talked about on the phone.
Sure. As you can imagine, the selectmen are in that same boat.
Absolutely.
You wish people would just simply pick up the phone
Right.
because we're all willing to talk.
Absolutely.
But as opposed to voicing your opinions, some of them anonymously.
Right.
And not that you can't. It's social media is social
Right.
media, and it's changed society in a big way.
Right.
But it's good. It's a great tool if it's used responsibly.
It is, and then you hear the term keyboard warriors often, right? Like people will make fake accounts and blast whatever they want to blast over social media,
Yeah.
bashing a town official or a police or fireman for whatever, and it's like, hey, you know what? Is that the right way to do things
Yep.
in a community? Pick up the phone, stop by. Hey, this is what's bothering me. Could you could you explain to me why this happened? Or
Sure.
that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Not doing the way they do it.
Right.
And we've all seen it happen.
Oh, yeah.
From time to time.
Can we just talk about the status of the police station? People still think that we have a new police station, which we do.
Yeah.
But it's getting old.
It is.
It's starting to show some wear.
6 years old now.
6 years old.
6 years old now.
And we have a wish list in town from different departments. I know yours has always been another police vehicle, replacing them every year like we used to.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we've come on hard times and have deviated from that. But what is the status of the police station? Is there something that's desperately needed? I know you guys do updates when you can, through grants especially. Yes. You have a grant writer.
We do.
And have the public got what they paid for?
Oh yes, I mean, and like you said, it's a 6-year-old police station,
Yeah.
and the thing's running 24/7, 365. Yeah. So there's wear and tear. Like recently, we're trying to maintain the HVAC system.
Yeah.
That just ran us a little bit of money with some upgrades this past summer when things start seizing up and changing up parts. But preventative maintenance, I stay on top of it. I'm always annually doing boiler cleanings and the HVAC system, upgrading that, making sure that's running the part. Because when you start neglecting things, is when things start costing a lot of money.
Right.
As far as the building itself, the highway department helps tremendously. Like I bought paint. They came in the rainy days or the cold months when there's not a lot going on that they can't do outside. We utilize the highway department to come in and keep the place freshened up. Okay. Maintain the building as much as we can. But like you said, yeah, there are grants out there. There's not a lot of grants for inside stuff.
Yep.
More or less for things on the road.
Right.
Maintaining a cruiser every year is nice to have. Granted, we have another car getting old. I didn't get a car this past year, so hopefully in the near future we'll be able to get another one.
Okay.
I don't know if the lease options will become better available. I don't know. Those are things we have to look at down the road.
That we'd have to look at.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
We have a great support staff looking into those things.
Yes.
You have a community room.
We do.
Is it open to the public to use?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Dayton Baseball, Dayton Softball associations use it. We have a cooking club once a month. Folks come in to use the room. I think it's once every Tuesday of the month. They come in with it.
Great.
It's called the cooking club. They bring their recipes in. They trade off stuff. So almost like a potluck supper for them. So we have that. We've had the Dayton Historical Society will use it every now and then. It's a beautiful community room. We just had it all repainted last year as well. So we put a nice vinyl mural on the wall of a different interest in town.
So I don't think people knew it existed.
Yes.
And that it's available for the public to use.
It is. So and they just fill out a request through communications.
Right.
They show up at the front door. They can, I'm interested on, May 3rd of 2026 to rent the room. They check the availability. We check the calendar. If it's available, we'll call you back. Yep, you're all set,
Great.
Mr. Karen. Come use the room. And you're all
Is there
set.
a charge?
There is no charge.
Great. That's cool. Anything you want from the selectmen?
No, sir.
No?
No.
Everything's cool.
Everything's very good.
George, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, it has.
Thank you
very
for
much.
coming in. Thank you, guys.